In previous tuning theory videos, I've highlighted the fact that the interfaces of most Western instruments can't elegantly host 2D tunings because of the one-dimensional perspective and tuning around which they're designed. 1D tunings are, however, derivable from specific cases of 2D tunings. In the case of Western music, 12-veto can most intuitively be derived from a specific case of the syntonic temperament, aka mean-tone temperament, where the fifth is flatted to 700 cents so that, after 12 fifths, one lands on an octave equivalent pitch of the note one started on, leading to what are referred to as enharmonic equivalents. Most Western instruments' interfaces could, at least hypothetically, be outfitted with a machine that translates desired pitches into fingerings for that instrument. In fact, some of these types of machines have already been designed and built. And if the excitation is left up to the musician, they might not sound quite so... Well, they'll sound as good as the musician can make them sound. These instruments could be generalized, at least within Western tuning, the moment one hooks up a generalized keyboard to such a mechanism. Then, with the introduction of extra slides, buttons, or valves to the instrument itself, which makes no difference to a sufficiently complex automated mechanism, that instrument can be generalized from a tuning perspective as well. The infinitone, a recent invention of Subrog Singh, is extremely close to this ideal. It uses mechanically driven slides to access the complete pitch spectrum on a saxophone-like instrument. Those slides are operated automatically by his software, which determines the appropriate position for his currently selected pitch on an iPad. For some instruments, like say the vibraphone, the selection of pitch is directly related to the excitation of a discrete vibrating body unique to that pitch, and so one wouldn't want to use a machine to interface with those instruments. To generalize those instruments, one merely needs to arrange the vibrating bodies in a 2D array. Other times, the selection of pitch may not excite the instrument directly, but may instead provide expressive freedom, as is the case for most string instruments and the guitar. In these cases, one would similarly not want to use a machine to interface with those instruments, but since they have one or several vibrating bodies whose length is changed manually, the solution is not as simple as rearranging those vibrating bodies. For fretted instruments, one solution is to have the fretboard itself be the 2D array, where one dimension is represented by the frets, and the other is represented by the strings. Using that method, frets don't get closer to each other the more notes you are using in your tuning since, like on a generalized keyboard, more chromatic notes are added to the edges of the array, not in between existing notes. This does limit which pitches are available to be played simultaneously, however. Another solution, which would work with fretless instruments as well, is to skew a visualization of the 2D pitch space such that it can be collapsed down to one dimension and, therefore, onto a string or air column. This is possible because the one-dimensional nature of pitch itself is still reflected in 2D interfaces. There is always a single direction that results in the most change in pitch, and a perpendicular direction that results in no change in pitch. In equal temperaments, that perpendicular axis connects enharmonic equivalents. For instruments with more than one vibrating body, like say a guitar, the 2D interface needs only to be positioned to line up with one string, and then the unisons across all strings can be visually connected to maintain the 1D representation of pitch that can be related back to the 2D visualization. With the popularization of home 3D printing, rapid prototyping is easier than ever before. Once I'm satisfied with my 3D printable isomorphic keyboard piano overlay, I'll move on to generalizing as many Western instruments as I can. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please feel free to share it on social media, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and if you'd like to support this channel, then please consider pledging $1 per video on my Patreon page. As a patron, you'll gain access to patron-only content like my Rubber Duck YouTube live streams and Patreon Lens posts, and you'll get your name credited at the end of my videos. I'm always working on several long-term, high-effort projects, but do my best to post smaller weekly projects to keep things fresh. Thanks again.